have that in the video now. That's great. Okay. So in this speech, I'm going to be talking about something big happening in our country, the election and voting. Voting is a big part of being a U.S. citizen, and there's been a big outcry lately of celebrities telling everybody to go out and vote. But the problem is how many people are actually going out and voting. Okay. So in an article by Craig Gilbert from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel in 2018 in Wisconsin, it said that 55% of the state's voting age adults went through with it and went out and vote. Okay. In a Kenosha newspaper, it was said that there was a record high of early voting, and that in the city's previous high was 5,600 early ballots in the 2014 midterm election. And the clerk's office said it counted just under 13,000 on Thursday. That's a large rise of ballots considering the previous reference that only 55% of the state's voting aged adults went out and voted. In previous years, there was a poll for the Washington Post/ABC News that said 80% told them that they were certain to vote. Now, in recent years, the number has been rising of people using their voice in voting. In 2014, 70% were very interested compared to 61% in the 3 previous midterm elections. Now that 90% doesn't seem that huge, but that's a lot of people who felt before that their voice didn't matter. And now that's 9% can make it or break it when it comes to Republicans keeping office or New Democrats taking office. Now that becomes an issue this year. It seems that the numbers of active voters have downed again from 70% in 2014 down to 55% in 2018. Now that's a big downfall that needs to be fixed. Everyone needs to understand how important voting is and how it can affect your everyday life. In an article in Kenosha News about how this election may affect your life, there are 3 important questions on the ballot for 2018 midterm election. One of them was non-binding city and county referendums calling for closing the dark store loophole. Second was advisory referendums for whether or not medical marijuana should be legal. And the third was asking for Kenosha voter support in hiring more police officers and firefighters in the next year. These are all very important considering, like in the article, it said that medical marijuana could treat lots of patients that had muscular scoliosis, schizophrenia, chronic pain. One more. And epilepsy. And it's also important for additional hire of police officers and firefighters. Could help our town in so many ways by making sure the laws are being followed and that people are safe, which is always important in my opinion. Now, let's talk about statistics of people who vote Democrat or who vote Republican. 50% of persons in Wisconsin prefer to vote Democratic, while 49% prefer to vote Republican. And it's also said in Washington Post that 20% of women prefer to vote Democrat, which I thought was very interesting. In conclusion, take away from this that many people don't think that voting is that important when it can affect so many things in our lives that possibly many people aren't aware of. My suggestion is when you go out and vote, make sure that you are educated in your decision and go out and vote. And it's our right as citizens, and be sure to use it to our full abilities. I don't have the article with me though. One of the references that I used was Craig Gilbert, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, November 7th, 2018. Wisconsin saw record-breaking midterm turnout in 2018. Another one was Kenosha News, Jeffrey Zampanti, I don't know if I'm saying that right, November 3rd, 2017, record number use, early voting.